Okay, so I am doing my Thursday YouTube orbit video very early, considering it's only been Thursday for an hour and 21 minutes where I live. Um, I definitely was not planning on doing my YouTube orbit this late or this early, I don't know. Um, but I was just getting ready, I just got out of the shower, as you can tell. My bangs are all like flippy, floppy. I got on Facebook and I had an event invite, I guess you could say. It was for gas strike. And it was basically just like, we're tired of gas prices being so high. Who do they think they are? Blah, 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 stuff like that. And gas is a topic. I think a lot of the reason that I get so upset about it is because of my major. I'm a geography major, environmental principles and practices co-major, and we talk about gasoline and just energy in general a lot in a lot of my classes. And what affects prices, what affects, things like that. And it just being invited to this event made me so upset that I ended up writing a note on Facebook, which sounds like, oh, Megan, you really went out of your way for that one. I don't write notes on Facebook. Actually, I tried to make it my status, but it was too long, so they made me make it a note. But I just wanted it to be my topic. I'm actually like shaking just thinking about it, just because like I know that I think people are going to argue with me on this, and I think that's totally, whatever. I mean, obviously, this is up for discussion. This is what I feel. If you don't like how I feel, that's perfectly fine with you. I really want to hear what you guys think about this. I would like to hear more ideas because obviously I might not have thought about something and you might know more about it and you can tell me, and I am very open to learning about that because this is the kind of stuff that I want to go into as a profession. An environmental consulting firm is what I'm really shooting for. So the more I know about these kinds of things, the better. I've been talking for 2 minutes and I haven't really said anything. Alrighty then. I think I'm just going to read to you what my note says. I might make a few comments throughout it, but it's very short. Alright, it just says, I don't think people realize that gas prices aren't high just because people feel like making them higher. Now, there have been a few times where it's like, oh, the gas prices went up because it's a holiday, the gas prices went up because it's the weekend. Now, I think those are times where they're just kind of like money hungry. But, as I said, ever think about where most of our gas comes from? Ever think about the wars, protests, and just plain horrible things that are happening in those areas? The gas we buy has to be protected and has to be dealt by those countries and regions. Yeah, we have to pay more for gas, but people are dying and suffering for it. Just think about it. And what I find really interesting is that gas prices shot up right after the protests in Egypt, especially the what's going on in Libya. And people don't add two and two together that our gas is coming from maybe not exactly those countries, but those regions, and it has to be protected because protesters, they're going to hit a country where it hurts, and gas is worth a lot right now, and it's something that a lot of countries depend on, and if they want to make a point, then, they'll do whatever they can. And so I think part of where our money is going to is helping protect that gas and getting it transported to where it needs to go. And obviously, if that's a reason why the gas prices are higher, then other people are suffering and we have to pay more for gas and we're complaining about it. I feel bad about complaining to pay so much for gas because I don't like paying more for gas. I mean, I don't think anybody does, but I feel kind of bad about it because I'm like, oh man, I'm like complaining about paying 20 more cents a gallon for gas, and there's people out there like really suffering. I can't even imagine how. I've been really lucky to live in the United States and have freedoms and, have the right to vote for who I want to vote for and not have people rule over my country for 20 plus years and things like that. But anyway, on to the next part of my note, which is less about politics and things like that. I said, also, the gas prices aren't even high enough. I hate paying that much for gas, trust me. But to reflect the environmental and health externalities into the cost of gas would mean that we would have to be paying more than you can even imagine. I wish I didn't have to drive everywhere, but this country is built around the car. Obviously, speaking of the United States. It's built around gasoline, and it's ruining our environment as well as causing political and social strife. Now that's the end of my note. Actually, I said end rant, let the arguments begin, because I can only imagine, especially the friends that were really into this event of the gas strike. And in the gas strike, it talked about how, before in the 70s and um, the gas strike worked and whatever, but I think this is a bit different. I think that gas prices are higher for different reasons. Back to my point I was making before about the environmental things. It's true if environmental externalities, meaning like the cost of cleaning up pollution, like all the carbon, uh, sorry, I'm like getting all, ugh, the carbon dioxide and methane and gases like that are released, not just from gasoline, but just from, other things. But a lot of it is from gasoline, a lot of it is from cars, a lot of it's from things that come from oil, creating plastics and things like that. And if you think about how much pollution goes within the air and the water and how much it costs to clean that up, and it all goes back to taking that gasoline out of the ground and how much that hurts the environment and all the different things that are affected from the pollution and from the destroying places to get that gasoline, how much those ecosystems are worth to our world. It's just like, I have a great example here that I've talked about in one of my classes a lot. There was, I wish I could remember what town it was in New York. They were going to spend billions of dollars on getting a water treatment plant because they needed to get water from the Catskill Mountains, and it was getting polluted by different things such as farms that were using, different kinds of fertilizers, and that had phosphorus in them and things like that. And instead of spending billions of dollars on building this water treatment plant, they decided to buy land that was around where their water was coming from and encourage the people that owned land around there to not use those kinds of fertilizers and to practice better environmental things. And it cost them a few $1,000,000, and they didn't have to build the water treatment plant, and their water was perfectly fine. And it just goes to show you how much our earth is worth to us, and the different things like pollination. Like, you never think about pollination and how much that's worth to us, but like once bees start disappearing and crops aren't doing as well and things like that, people start freaking out. You never realize how much those things are worth. So if we put all that worth that we're destroying into the cost of gasoline, we would be paying so much more than you could ever imagine. And so I think that's something to think about, that gas prices aren't high enough because we're not paying money-wise what our environment's worth that we're destroying. Another thing I said, I wish I didn't have to drive anywhere, but our country is built around the car, which is true. There are many cities that have mass public transportation, that saves a lot, but I mean, obviously that's still a problem, and it's built around gasoline. That's so true. And I think a big thing is that alternative energies cost so much to get into, but they save more money in the long run. And I think countries are scared to get into that because, yeah, eventually, they'll be, above everyone else. They won't have to depend on gasoline when that's a problem. But they're going to be behind right now. Like, if the United States decided, we're going to cut carbon emissions by 80%, then all the other countries that were able to put off more carbon dioxide, they would be way ahead of us in terms of production because they wouldn't have to worry about paying so much for all of the different things that you need to cut down on carbon emissions. So anyway, I've been talking for a long time. I really do want to hear what you guys have to say about this. You can leave a comment. You can send me a personal message if you don't want it to get, like, in an argument or whatever. You can make a video response. I really want to hear what you guys have to say about this. And it's just something that's really important to me. So talk to you guys later. Bye!